guys, how have you been? Hope you've been well. Welcome back. It feels so long since I've talked on a video, so I'm pretty excited for this one. I decided to lean more into some dessert stuff. I will get back to, doing my typical videos, but for some reason I've just been in a sweet tooth mood. I'm sure we've all been in that type of mood before. So I have double stuffed Oreos, the best Oreos in my opinion, or the golden double stuffed, they're good too. And I got 2 ice cream bars, and I have a glass of milk. And today you guys wanted me to talk about the karate tournament video. So if you guys want to vote on the next video, make sure to stay tuned in with the polls. That's where I usually put the video. So let's get into it. I'm going to start with one of these because I am looking forward to these. The Oreo bar cookie pieces inside. I'm going to mute this because I know it's going to be very loud for you guys. And here it is. Very dark, but it's an Oreo ice cream bar, so it's to be expected. Okay, let's dig in. This is good. Okay, so time to give you guys some Agartha lore. So I grew up in Chicago, but around 3rd grade, my parents moved us to the suburbs. Me and my sibling to the suburbs. My mom wanted me to get acclimated to, the new neighborhood, make some new friends. So my mom enlisted me in a lot, and I mean a lot of extracurricular activities, just to give you guys some. On top of karate, I was also enlisted in gymnastics, band, summer camp, swimming. It was like she made me do everything. There's a point in time where I'm just like, Mom, can't I just play video games? Please, just let me play video games. But my mom is a busybody, and she thought, well, maybe Agartha needs to, be more active. So when I was enlisted in karate, it was a large room. I mean, I'm talking about, it wasn't big. It wasn't as big as a football field, but it was just an unnaturally long room. Like, it just made me feel uncomfortable. So after getting signed up, the instructor basically, he's like, yeah, the white belts, which is the lowest rank in karate, he said, yeah, the white belts go all the way down there. So as I'm walking, I'm just passing by every single rank, and they're kind of in their huddle, and the black belts were mostly like teens, like older teens, maybe 15 through 17, but I did see one person who was, I think she was maybe 10. She was very young. Ironically, around like the middle ranks, I saw older people, maybe like never seen a guy with gray, so that was pretty cool. Then when I got to the yellow rings, like the lower rings, which is like for me, yellow is the second, and then white is the you know, the what's it called, the last one, the lowest one. I started to see people my age, so I'm like, okay, at least we're gonna grow up together. That was the point, at least. They basically said that we're gonna have like small teams where we're gonna be in like teams of 3. So my team of 3 was this other guy who was trying to impress the instructor, and then there was there was a girl, and she was just there, and she didn't really want to be there, but you know, she didn't want to get in trouble, so she just did the activities with us. So time went on, and we were just learning what the instructor was teaching us. Well, it was split between like the lower ranks, mid ranks, and higher ranks. Our instructor basically taught us moves, while the higher rank taught different moves, and black belts learn, you know, their own stuff. I'll take a sip of milk now. That was more than a sip, forgive me. I'm also gonna open these up now. So let me just crack into these. I ended up just opening up these outside the pack because for some reason it was very hard for me to just slide them all to the side and have the logo still there. So just so you guys know, also my family decided to be very loud now. So if you hear some background noise, that's because they want to be loud. So anyway, we learned some moves, and I think about it, you know, it was only once a week, so it's not like we were getting like extensive practice, but because that's how my mom could really manage, because she put me in all of these others extracurricular activities. So I think about, it was 6 months to a year, I'm pretty sure. And I was promoted to white belt. Now, before you guys question and say, wait, weren't you already a white belt? This is how belt rankings went, at least at my, this is how rankings went at my, little community center, I guess. So, you started off as a white belt with tip. Tip is like a little piece of tape that wraps around the end of your belt to signify, like, okay, that's lower than just a standard white belt. I'm not gonna lie, I don't even know what I did in order to get promoted. My friend who was there before me, he said, yeah, you have to go through like a little test, and I'm like, I don't remember the test at all, but apparently I passed it, and I was promoted to just white belt solid. So I think another 6 months to a year passed, and I got promoted to yellow belt tip. and I got an invitation to a karate tournament that was going to be held, ironically, in the same building, but it was going to be on in a different room. Ironically, now it's considered the dancing room or aerobic room. But back then, it was just a regular room. The thing is that I did not want to go to this because, for one, I really just wanted to chill. It was on a weekend. I think it was like Saturday at like 10 a.m. So I did everything in my power to just not go. I didn't tell my mom. I didn't tell her about anything. But the karate session right before the tournament happened, the instructor went up to my mom and told her, hey, yeah, Cartha, he's getting the moves down. There's a tournament on Saturday. And from there, my mom was like, you're going? I'm just like, but why? I'm just complaining, just being a kid. But the funny thing is that my mom also scheduled to have her hair appointment done that same day at around the same time. So she just dropped me off that Saturday and then went to go get her hair done. But that took like 4 hours. So basically, I was at a karate tournament and it was just me. Another thing, something about this karate tournament felt so fishy, like it was unsanctioned, and this is why. And for other karate enthusiasts out there, please put down in the comments what you think about this. They were not structured in lower ranks versus lower ranks. It was purely randomized. So if a black belt got matched up against a yellow belt, because it stopped at yellow belt, if you were a white belt, you couldn't be a part of it. But if you were a yellow belt, you could hypothetically be placed against a black belt. And I find that to be very unfair. That did not sound right to me. So, just so you guys know, I don't know how they're even randomizing it, but some matches went by, and then I got my name called, so I'm like, oh crap. I go up there, and I go up, and I take like a stance, and then they call this other person's name, and up in front of me comes a green belt. But the thing is that the green belt is a girl. So I was watching the previous matches before, and they seem to be going pretty hard. So I'm kind of having an internal conflict. I'm like 12. I'm like, can I fight a girl? It doesn't sound right to me. So the match starts, and the thing is that at this match particularly, there was no best of 3. There were no sets. It was just whoever won, which is why I really do believe that this was unsanctioned, because a lot of things aren't making sense. So here's the thing. I was fighting 2 battles at this point. I didn't want to hit her, but she was very clearly going to hit me. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to like slam her, meaning that I'm just going to get her on the ground, maybe like, do something so that I could get some points. But I didn't really want to beat her to begin with. But she was strong. She was smaller than me, but she was very, very strong. So, ironically, I watched the wrestling the night before. SmackDown was the night. Friday Night SmackDown was the night before. And I saw a judo flip. And I'm like, okay, hypothetically, that's something that they taught the higher ranks. So maybe if I do that, get her and judo flip her, but she was kind of already hanging onto my body, and she landed very awkwardly. So immediately after the move, they like stop the match, they go and check on her. And she's complaining that her neck hurt, and that like it hurt so bad that like she didn't want to do it anymore. So once again, very suspect, but they then say, oh, Agartha, you move on to the next bracket. I'm like, what? How? You know, I'm just confused at this point. A lot of this just sounds like some mumbo jumbo now. I'm sorry. Okay. Take a sip of milk though. Okay. So now I move on to the next bracket. I'm sitting, I'm watching the rest of the first round. The match is finished. And ironically, I was the first match of the next round. So once again, I go up, I take a stance, and up comes this had to be a man. Like, he was taller than most of the adults there. He was like 6'3", 6'4". I'm 12, so just being over 5 foot at the age of 12 was like, yo, you're pretty tall, you know? And he was very heavy set. So, and he was a purple belt. I don't really remember, but I just know that I was gonna lose. So at this point, I'm just kind of like, okay. I don't really have a game plan. I'm gonna be real with you guys. I'm just more so just trying to figure out, like, what can I do just to not get hurt? I'm gonna spare you guys the details. The match lasted like at maximum 7 seconds. Despite him being very big, he was very fast. All I remember was that he hit me with like this sweeping kick, and it was so fast and disruptive that by the time I land, I didn't even register. Like, I hit the ground. So I just stayed down. I'm just like, you got it, bro. You win. Agartha out. Let me go home. But the thing that sucked was that this is during an era where I did not have a smartphone or a phone at all. So I'm just looking outside and I realize, oh, my mom isn't gonna pick me up until she's done. So I just went back and watched the tournament, and ironically I sat next to the girl I fought. And like the whole time she was just giving me pointers like, hey, when you do this, you know, make sure you hold this, because since you didn't hold that, I ended up landing on my front neck instead of the back of my, you know, my neck. She was pretty cool. It just fell apart. And I have to watch my clothes again. I'm not gonna lie, this is a lot of sweets for me, so I'm gonna call it here, guys. That's basically a story. My mom picked me up, asked me how it was, and I didn't tell her anything, and then I just continue as is. I eventually just stopped going, and she just didn't protest it anymore. So technically I'm still a part of it now, but I'm like an inactive member, so there's that. So I hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.